Welcome to Sitcom Showdown, a podcast that reviews classic sitcom episodes and inducts them into our very own Hall of Fame. As usual, one of us has chosen a sitcom episode and the other guy has no idea what it's going to be. Will they already know it? Will they love it? Can they be convinced that it's worthy? Let's find out on the Sitcom Showdown.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Steve here, and I'm here with Jeff.
Hello.
Good to be here with you, Jeff.
Oh, likewise.
I've been looking forward to this.
It's been a long time.
No, you'll barely notice, listeners, but it's been a month and a bit since we recorded because Jeff's swanned off to the US and back. Yes,
I didn't watch any sitcoms while I was over there, I should hasten to add.
No.
So I'm not up on what all the latest USA sitcom action is.
No, you were too busy to sit around watching sitcoms. Speaking about listener feedback, I'm dropping a bombshell. We got some.
Oh my goodness. That's a first. Excellent.
Yeah, yes. And it was actually positive as well.
Oh, good.
This is Boaz Draw, D-R-O-R. And Boaz says, at Sitcom Showdown, great podcast. I'm a huge #Garth Marenghi fan, but even found the opposing viewpoint insightful. Do you guys ever have transcriptions of your program available? So I replied to say thank you. And no, we don't have transcriptions, but yes, I was chuffed to get that.
We don't have auto transcriptions. We don't have it in our non-existent budget to pay transcribers, but yeah.
Yeah. First bit of feedback in our 23, 24 episodes.
Yep, a year of doing the show. Thank you very much for sending in that feedback.
That was awesome, and I was going to say thanks to everyone who's liked and followed us on Facebook. That's really good. And if anyone wants to give us a review on iTunes, that would be good.
Well, why not?
We could claw our way above all the other sitcom podcasts that have given up 5 years ago. That would be good.
Oh, I see. Yes.
So what are we doing this week? Well, we're doing Count Arthur Strong.
Are we doing something from Series 1, Series 2, or Series 3?
Series 1.
Series 1. All right, here we go. Okay.
In fact, it's the final episode of Series 1, and it's called The Seance.
Count Arthur Strong.
Count Arthur Strong. What could you say about that? Well, this is what I said about it. When Michael Baker's father dies, he is contracted to write a book about his father's show business career. By the way, he didn't get along very well with his father. While researching the book, Michael meets Count Arthur Strong, his father's ex-showbiz partner, and gets sucked into Arthur's weird and wonderful world, which revolves largely around a group of friends who meet at Bullitt's Cafe. Yeah.
That sounds totally accurate.
Good. Not a lot of information there, but we'll flesh it out as we go.
Okay.
This was aired on the BBC network in the UK for 3 seasons, 2013 to 2017. But sadly, we're not going to get to see a fourth. Not on the BBC anyway.
Right.
In terms of famous stars, we've got Steve Delaney starring as Count Arthur Strong. Mm-hmm. And Count Arthur Strong is a struggling, non-successful showbiz personality and jack of all entertainment trades. And I was going to ask you, where would you rate Count Arthur versus Richie Rich? Which one's more B grade or C grade?
I was just thinking about Richie Rich. Count Arthur's definitely ahead of Richie Rich in terms of talent and achievements.
Wow.
Because at least he had a partner that's worthy of writing a book about and is nationally known, whereas Richie's never done anything of note for anybody.
Well, didn't he do the links?
TVS links, 1972. Yeah. Count Arthur's got to be way ahead of Richie.
All right, there's no comparison there. He's described as having a mixture of physical and mental clumsiness, mirthful Can you say this?
Yeah, malapropisms.
Yes, those.
Yeah.
And touretic tics. And I was thinking that if someone likes Ronnie Barker's Ministry of Mispronunciation sketch, they'd probably get a kick out of watching Count Arthur in action.
Yeah.
Steve created the character of Count Arthur for the stage and radio. He started that as far back as the 1980s. And he's put the character down, picked it back up again, but it's been worked on and crafted over a long period of time. Rory Kinnear stars as Michael, and Rory is a Shakespearean actor who's done quite a few things, including the sitcom Quacks in 2017, which I want to get my hands on. He's the son of Roy Kinnear.
Yeah.
Who we talked about on our Georgia Mildred episode, is that right?
That's absolutely right. And, he was also in The Goodies and he was in lots of things. And I enjoy, just occasionally when Count Arthur Strong is on, seeing a little bit of Roy in Rory with certain angles or facial expressions or, bits of this and that. So, no, it's good. I always liked Roy Kinnear because he was a big old jolly chap.
Yep. Well, let's keep going. We've got Chris Ryman as Boulant. He's the cranky owner of the cafe. We've got Zara Armadi, who plays Seenam.
Yeah. And
Seenam is Boulant's younger sister, and she works in the cafe. Andy Linden as John the Watch, close friend of Arthur. And I love the character of John.
Totally.
Yeah, he's like a 5'3" shady ex-mafioso guy.
Yeah, it's nice to have someone with a bit of mystery, and yet he's sort of, a gentle, agreeable chap, but I guess you just wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of him.
No.
Yeah.
He wears a leather jacket, aviator, sunglasses.
Yep.
He likes the dogs. Some of his attributes. We've got Dave Plimmer as Eggy, who's a quiet, gentle person. He's also a regular at the cafe and a friend of Arthur's. Ruth Posner as Katia, another cafe regular and Arthur's greatest fan. We're talking a lot about her tonight. And lastly, Bronner Gallagher as Birdie, another cafe regular, series 3 it says on
there. That's right, with the Irish accent.
Yeah, that's right. Also worthy of noting, Graham Linehan co-wrote this series with Steve Delaney. And Graham, of course, he wrote or co-wrote The IT Crowd, Father Ted, Black Books, which we've talked about a couple of those already. And he also directed this episode.
Oh, really? Okay.
So my background to watching this, I think I found this when I was looking up Graham Linehan on Wikipedia or something like that.
Right.
Shoved the name into YouTube or something like that, and an episode came up. And it was an episode called The Soup Over.
Oh.
I got so excited after watching The Soup Over. And I think I sent it on to you, and you watched it and said, What is this?
This is a mind-blowing thing. It was just so bloody bizarre.
Yeah, I couldn't recommend it as a jumping-on point. Listeners, I heartily recommend Count Arthur, but don't go to The Soup Over. Go to...
And that's not because it's bad. Maybe it's just too strange to start with.
Yeah, all the characters are. Yeah, don't do it to yourself. Get in the shallow end of the pool. Yes. Jeff, what about you? We just talked about...
Yeah.
You started with The Soup Over.
You handed over The Soup Over, and then I looked for a bit more and found a bit more. And because, I was relying on episodes that might be on some sort of video hosting network, and it might be there today and gone tomorrow, because obviously they're breaking copyright and such. It was just piecemeal, getting an episode here and an episode there, really. And luck of the draw. So I was going in not in chronological order.
And then I've since bought a couple of the DVDs. Well, no, I got one for Christmas, I think. So you've seen a bit on there as well. Yes, all right. Well, I think that's probably enough chat. We'll go and watch it and come back shortly.
Let's go.
Nice to see the turban back.
You what?
Remember when we first met, you wore that turban for your Memory Man act?
Memory Man act?
Just forget it.
Oh, yes. Oh, this is for seances. This isn't my Memory Man turban.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. This is my Memory Man turban. Oh, no, that's me round the house one. This is my Memory Man turban. I think I would know which turban I'm wearing, thank you very much.
Well, should we get started then? I'm missing one born every minute.
I didn't know you did all this stuff, Arthur.
Oh, yes. My mother was a medium.
You always told me she was a big woman.
I don't mean a dress size. She was big-boned, yes. She was an extra large. Now, will you shut up and let me do this? My mother was an extra large medium.
We're back.
Yeah.
And Jeff, I've got a synopsis for the listeners. Feel free to jump in at any point.
All right.
And add your bits.
Okay.
So we start out with Katia's funeral, which is a somber occasion. She died in the penultimate episode of Series 1. So there's a small group of people there. It's really just our regular characters, which is a bit sad. And her coffin gets stuck on the rollers as it's moving towards the curtain.
You go...
But John the Fixer offers to help out, and he does. It's a problem with the gears or something like that. But at the end of all this, the conclusion was that it wasn't a good funeral, wasn't a proper send-off. Back at the cafe the next day, John and Seenham tell someone that he can't sit in Katya's chair. They obviously haven't accepted the fact that she's passed on. Michael comes in and announces that he's had an argument with his publisher over the book, which is now finished.
Wrapping up the whole raison d'etre for the show.
Exactly. Apparently it wasn't what the publisher expected.
Oh.
We also learned that Arthur hasn't been into the cafe for several days.
Oh, can I hassle you then?
Go on then.
Because you said the next day they'd been in there. And so I'm
you're
wondering if maybe 3 or 4 days have passed.
Yes, I think you're right. 3 or 4 days have passed. And Arthur hasn't been in, which is unusual. Strangely, Boolant is in a good mood. We learn that he's trying to be happy like Arthur to attract people because no one's there apart from the regulars.
Because the entertainment's not there.
Well, yeah, quite. So the guys decide they're going to go round to Arthur's house to find out what's going on. And they go knock on the door, there's no answer, and they start fretting that he's fallen over and injured himself, or someone's gotten in and bonked him on the head, or...
Oh. They're thinking the worst.
They're thinking the worst, so they get stressed out and they call the police. And Michael's going through this call, and he gets to the point where they're asking him what the address is, and he's kind of wondering what the address is, and Arthur says what the address is from behind them, because he's walked up behind them.
And we can see from the camera angle that the back of Arthur is joining the group.
Yeah, so he announces what the address is, and of course Michael doesn't even realise that it's Arthur saying it. Cue mass confusion.
Oh, yeah.
About what's going on, and somehow Arthur, Eggy, and John all think that there's some stranger in Arthur's house, so they're running around trying to find this stranger, and Michael's trying to cancel the phone call to the police and the ambulance. he just can't do it because every 2 seconds they're rushing past shouting something out. Anyway, that's a bit of a mess.
And I'm sure that once you call emergency services, even if you call them back and try and cancel in real life, I don't think you can. I think once you've made the call, that's it. They're coming around anyway, even if you ring back and say don't come around. So a bit of good real life stuff in there. Yes.
I'm not going to put your theory to the test.
No, okay.
So once all that's died down, they ask Arthur where he's been, because they've been worried about him and they thought he might have fallen over, and he just shrugs all this off, and he's not himself.
No.
And he ends up shooing them out of his house. When they're back at the cafe, Michael announces that he's going back to York, which is where he lives, now that the book is finished. And now he's made sure that Arthur's all right. And Seenham asks him, are you sure that's the only reason you're staying? Bit of a loaded question.
Yeah.
Because they've been having what would you call it? A dalliance? Or...
Oh, no, I'd say there's
interest.
Chemistry without action. They're both uncertain.
Yes. And
she's hoping and putting the signals out there that he should hang around for another reason to develop whatever it is they've not got going on.
Yeah. Arthur appears and announces that Katya's still here.
Oh.
And she's not happy. And he can't bear the thought of her not being happy. And Michael says, well, what can we do about it? You know, she's passed on. And Arthur says, hang on, there's one thing we can do. Cut to a picture of Arthur with the turban on at his house, and you can hear this very intense angel singing music or something like that.
I don't know what the name of that very famous...
It could be something from The Exorcist or something like that.
Yeah, it's something very familiar.
Yeah, so it's...
We can put a clip in of it now.
Yes. Anyway, it turns out that that's Michael's ringtone. Arthur's dressed up. He's got his Seance turban on, and they're seated at Arthur's house around the table. Not to be confused with his Memory Man turban.
No, which I did. I said, Steve, surely that's his Memory Man turban, and you stayed silent, which indicated to me that we were about to have that issue addressed on screen.
Or his Around the House turban. Okay, so they're all there, and they kick off the Seance. And which is Arthur's great idea. Eggy,
once they've sorted out which turban he's got on.
Well, yeah, well, they put that to rest, and they're moving on. Eggy tells the story of I can't remember what it is. Something about his.
Well, his sister was there, and because they were staying at his grandmother's or something. It was a haunted house, and then there was an old lady at the foot of her bed.
Anyway, it's a scary story.
Yeah, and after Arthur had tried to.
Yeah, after he tried to create all this atmosphere. Eggy tells this scary story, and Arthur doesn't like it too much.
It had him quaking in his boots.
Yeah. Exactly. They've started on the Polish vodka in tribute to Katya. And Arthur declares that it's time to get the haunted blackboard out.
Oh, that's just classic.
And
He sort of throws it in at the end of a line, you know, I'm going to get this, and oh, you got to get the haunted blackboard.
yeah, so basically he's got all these incorrect terms for the seance equipment or whatever.
Yep.
And he draws a protective pentacle on the haunted blackboard, which is going to be the last line of defence should evil spirits invade this mortal realm. But he can't draw a pentacle to save his life.
Yeah.
Boulant has a stab at it, but he just draws a rectangle.
It's a perfect rectangle, but he's got it.
It's very good, but it's not a pentacle.
That's not going to protect him against anything.
Arthur declares, we can't see off the forces of darkness with a bloody rectangle. Then John says, can I put the telly on? So needless to say, things are close to going right off the rails. Arthur goes on with his seance act and he tells them not to break the circle under any circumstances. In the meantime, so they've closed their eyes and they've started the seance. They're getting on with it. But in the meantime, John has sneaked off to watch the TV. And Arthur declares it all a shambles. So he says he's going to have to up the ante by getting the spirit board out.
Oh, no.
Which is a Ouija what is it, a Ouija board? The message from the Ouija board is, I smell good, give bricks to the baby, and I superstar Arthur.
Yeah, I think Arthur might have been pushing the glass at that point to spell out I superstar Arthur.
To be fair, the Polish vodka's starting to be consumed in large quantities.
Oh, true.
Yeah, they're getting smashed. And Sinem suggests turning the lights off. Maybe that's the thing they need to do, which is really just an excuse for her to snog Michael.
Yeah.
And so they've got the lights turned off and there's all this banging and crashing going on, and
Arthur's convinced that they've got some spirits in.
Yeah, and when they turn the lights on, Michael and Sinem's hair is all messed up and his collar's turned up.
They're looking very dishevelled, like they've been attacked by an evil spirit.
Yes, but Boulant's, he knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Whereas Arthur's convinced that something's really happening here. At this point, they decide to order some pizza in, and Arthur decides to liquidise his in tribute to Katya.
Because she only has liquids and brings in soups to the cafe and stuff. But was that part of the show in the previous 5 episodes? Did we have a scene where Katya only ate soup and there was a discussion about this?
I couldn't say definitively, but I think there's... there probably
Let's assume
was.
so then.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
They spot Katya's leg in a corner of the room. This is a bit strange.
Yeah.
Arthur's kept it.
We should point out that it's an artificial leg. He didn't
yes,
just
sorry.
lop off her actual real leg.
Sorry, listeners, I should just clarify that. He didn't saw her leg off, the leg off her corpse. It was her artificial leg.
Right. Oh, good.
Someone declares she was attached to that leg. That was...
that was John the Watch.
Yeah. And they decide that the significance of this is that Arthur basically can't bear to let her go. So they say, Arthur, you've got to let her go. And they decide they're going to bury her leg in the garden. Well, they don't actually say, but we assume it's Arthur's garden.
Yeah.
Interesting. Anyway, there's more vodka. They're all standing outside at this burial ceremony or something like that. And John's wobbling all over the place. That's quite funny.
Just swaying drunkenly.
Yep. Arthur can't bring himself to make a toast, so Michael does the honours. And they all smash the glasses on the ground at the end of that. And they've given Katya the proper send-off she deserved. So the others leave, and Michael says goodbye to Arthur because he's off to the train station the next day. So the next day, everyone's back at the cafe except for Michael, who's at the train station. He has, however, left an envelope for Arthur, which Sinem brings out. And Arthur opens it, and what is it, Jeff?
It's the book.
It's the book, the finished product.
With a spanking new cover on it, and a nice dedication and all that sort of thing. It's very, very touching, very nice.
Yeah, so the book's called Max and Arthur.
Yeah.
And he's inscribed it to Arthur. It says, for the dad I lost and the one I found.
It's all very nice, isn't it?
Yes. Arthur gets quite caught up in reading the book, and we fade out to the end of Series 1.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you want to say anything before I launch into my notes about why I think it's so great.
Well, no, it's just maybe this is a discussion for the end, but it's such a emotional episode that I thought out of all of Count Arthur Strong, and we'll find out, I guess, why would you choose this one, which in some ways is quite somber and less, or slightly less wacky
Well, I do address it.
than usual. Okay, I'll let you get on with it then.
Well, first, I wanted to talk about the characters, and particularly Arthur.
Yeah.
As we talked about before, this character was perfected and developed over a long time, and it arrives here fully formed, unlike other sitcoms where they're often developing the character as time goes on. But Arthur is fully formed when he arrives here, and then we add this layer of, I'll call it Graham Linehan gloss.
Yeah, it's a good term.
And he's adding the situation and the gags. Well, not all the gags, but he's bringing Arthur to the sitcom world.
And he's creating maybe just the universe that Arthur's existing in, which they probably had an open slate to create any situation, bung Arthur into it, and it's going to be funny.
Yeah. So he's a complex character. He's a born performer who likes to entertain people, and he brings this to everything he does. Thought of the episode, now I'm not even sure if you've seen it, where he's getting a bit of work for someone who runs these murder mystery nights.
You've told me about this. It's one of the ones I haven't seen.
Yeah, okay. So basically his job as an actor in this context is to play the part of the corpse and just lie on the floor.
Easiest acting job in the world.
For the duration, but he can't do it. Yeah, so the reality is he isn't very good. Though he's got loads of self-confidence.
Oh, yeah.
But at times, we also see that he's aware of his shortcomings. So this is the complexity. And we see an example of that in this episode, where he says that Katya is his only true fan. Yeah. Like, she didn't see the imperfections in Arthur. She only saw the good, the amazingness in his performances. Have you seen the episode before, well, not the episode prior to this, but the one where they're locked in the cafe?
Yes, because of the riots. Yeah, totally.
Yes, this episode would be episode 4 in this series, where they're locked in the cafe or cool room or whatever it is.
Yeah, the storeroom, yeah.
Because there's this riot happening outside, and she suggests that Arthur entertain them.
After they've been going, oh no, he's going to do his show. He's going to do it. Oh, please, Lord, no.
Yeah.
Don't let him.
Katya pipes up and says, Arthur, why don't you perform for us? And anyway, he spends the next 5 or 6 hours going through this entire repertoire.
Which probably involves, a medley of condensed Shakespeare and all the... Oh, goodness.
She thinks this is the best thing since sliced bread. So this is part of why he's so upset, because he's lost his only true fan. Also strange that all these people gravitate around him, but only one believed in his greatness. So he's got something about him which draws people to him, despite his shortcomings.
Yeah, and even though they all get incredibly annoyed with him, and he keeps dragging them into these ridiculous situations. And
it's not just his close friends.
No.
Because when Arthur's not there during those few days, the close friends are there in the cafe.
The regulars.
And it's the irregulars.
Yeah, the drop-in street trade.
It's all dried up.
Dried up.
And, of course, Boolant's freaking out about it. So that's good. Michael encounters people in Arthur's world, and he encounters situations there which he never would meet in his normal life.
Definitely not.
Because he's a writer and kind of moves in, I guess, semi-intellectual circles or something like that.
Yep.
So Boolant's cafe and the people there are a world removed from what he's used to, so I find that interesting as well. I've got to go fast because my MacBook's running out of charge.
Oh, here we go.
I like this episode because it continues the story so well, and they did a good job of writing the arc over the first series, and they paid it off well here. They pay it off in some ways, but they also tease us a bit for series 2. I don't know if they knew that was happening or not when they were at this point.
You've got to leave all your options open.
Yep. So we've got the importance of Arthur and Michael's relationship cemented because of this, what happens with the book.
Yeah.
And Michael's paid Arthur the greatest compliment possible, at the risk of annoying the publisher. So there was some personal cost to him doing that. But the book's finished and Michael's going back to York. And this episode continues and completes the Katya storyline, which essentially is run for three episodes at the back half of the series.
Oh.
Any thoughts on that before I move on?
Well, no, not really.
I wanted to talk about the tone of this. It's something you can watch with the whole family, and the whole family does like it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
It's heartwarming.
Unlike Black Books.
Yeah.
Which you can't watch with the whole family.
Or Father Ted.
That sits somewhere in between this and Black Books, I think.
Okay. That's an interesting... We could come back to that at some point.
Yeah. It's
heartwarming and touching, but isn't over the top with it. And Michael and Seenam's relationship is the last mention in this section.
Yeah.
It's this tentative relationship. It's not racy at all.
No.
Gags. I wonder how many of these you've got. Do you want you want to mention some gags?
When he's recounting the story of how he'd go into a deep trance as a child, to try and lend some credence to his claims about being a great medium. And it's the only way he could be roused was being bit by the parrot. And the parrot was called Captain Cheeky. Of course, the haunted blackboard. Because it's just tacked on casually at the end of this sentence when, if you're in the news game, that would be the headline. You don't just tack it on at the end. So that's what makes it work so well as a gag. Oh, the haunted blackboard. And Arthur can't draw a pentangle, and then he just tries again, and he cut back and he's tried again. It's even worse. Yeah. So just reading the note is making me laugh about it, but he's got the old... And I was a bit worried because they're all so drunk at this point, and Arthur whips out the blender. And I'm expecting disaster. But he's blending the pizza in tribute to Catcher not being able to eat solids and always having soup. And then he's scoffing it out. You go, oh, it's not a bad drop of pizza, that. Which is...
gross.
That's a tremendous sentence. I'd try it.
Would you?
I'd try some blended up pizza.
No, the pizza didn't look that good.
Oh. Sorry, yes, continue.
Right.
I've reached the end of I just stopped writing down the gags at that point.
John fixing the rollers made me laugh a lot. Yeah. But I think you have to know the character. I think I'm watching that in having watched series 2 and 3, where they develop the storyline of him being like this mafia fixer. Yeah. So that appealed to me a lot. The Seance turns out to just be another one of Arthur's half-baked acts. Not a serious thing at all. No. It's like his final performance for Katya. The ringtone on the phone. Yep. That was a good one. I think we already talked about that. They mention Michael says, I thought that was your memory man turban. And Arthur goes, memory man? What? What? I don't know what you're on about. He forgets the memory man for about 5 seconds. And a classic Arthur. What is it again? A malapropism? Yep. Mixing up his sayings and liquid eyes is the one he mangles in this episode. Yeah. Liquid eyebrow. Liquid eyebrow is that's the final iteration. Yep. But I think in summary, it just did such a good job of resolving the storylines that had been started in the series. And it was funny and warm and sad all at the same time. But looking back on all the Count Arthur episodes, I thought, okay, that's a strange one. I mean, on its own merits, I should just say now that, yes, I'm going to, unless you change your vote, this one will go into the Hall of Fame. Okay. It's just that I guess it depends what you're looking for. So, I mean, you've outlined why you appreciate this, but I just think back to other episodes. Like, for example, we mentioned the Soup Over, but also the Safari Park one. The ones that literally had me in pain from laughing so much. And almost walking out on the Safari Park one in the same way that you can't watch Fawlty Towers anymore because things just keep getting worse and worse and worse. Yep. And so there's episodes that you can just go, oh, I'm just crying with laughter here. And then this one's a different kettle of fish because it's paying off some emotional threads that have been laid throughout. And so this one was a nice surprise. There's at least 3 or 4 episodes which you could easily argue would go into the Hall of Fame. And for sure. Hopefully we'll get back to some of those at some point in the future, but this one stood out to me in the first series as for all those reasons that I've already talked about. All right. Yeah. Well, sounds like it's going in. I think so. So at this point we've done... Are we looking at a Linehan ban? So we've done Father Ted and Black Books and now this, so is the Linehan ban on? I think it should be. 10 episodes or something like that? Yes, now that we can do Ben Elton again after no Ben for 10, we're going to have to institute the Linehan ban. The Linehan ban is now in effect. Okay. Yes. And I guess we could say we'll see you again in a fortnight. Catch you later. All right. Cheers, everyone. Bye. Join us next time on Sitcom Showdown when we'll be putting another 5-star episode under the microscope. And in the meantime, you can contact us with feedback on Facebook, Twitter @Sitcom Showdown, or by email sitcomshowdown@gmail.com.